My Pats are in the AFC Divisional once again, and this is divisional weekend here for GPP Masters. That means the following: we have a four-game slate for the second week in a row, and next week we'll have a championship two-game slate. There will be a big prize, I'm sure, and look much like a Monday night slate, and then we're done because you don't ever play the Pro Bowl, Super Bowl slate. That never works. So let's talk about how we're going to bring home the 50K or the 250K this divisional weekend, because there are, as we will see, there are some significant advantages for our members here. So pay attention, follow the strategy, and you give yourself a great shot. So first of all, last week, I just want to come back to this. We talked about how do you differentiate yourself in a short slate like this, a four-game slate where the players tighten up, meaning the better players are on the field more. There's less value. And you don't have to over-differentiate. That's the key, I would say. But you have to smart differentiate. And you really need to focus on on your own score. How do I get myself into the 205 to 220 range? Because if you do, you should cash out nicely, depending on the week. Last week, the $250,000 tournament on DraftKings was won with 203.606 points. And if you read through the lineup real quickly, Cam Newton, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Corey Davis, who did terrible, 7.5 DraftKings points, Ted Ginn, Robert Woods, Greg Olson, Julio Jones, and a Bills defense that had 6 points. So 2 weak spots out of the 9 positions, and they still won the $250,000. And there's no name in there: Newton, Henry, McCaffrey, Davis, Ginn, Woods, Olsen, Jones, Bills. That is, oh my God, how do you know to play that guy? It was just putting the right pieces of the puzzle together. And where did he differentiate? He differentiated because, if you notice, there was no Gurley, there was no Kamara, Henry and McCaffrey. So he made his stand on the running back and decided to dig deep on the receiver and tight end, and he averaged 25 plus points at those positions. And of course, Henry and McCaffrey delivered. So we need a strategy for this week, and that's what we're going to focus on, one we stick with and live with. And for me, it will be, again, a focus away from quarterback, and we'll talk about that, along with building a few insurance policies around my core strategies, which is going to be a specific set of player. But where I differentiate this week, like last week, will not be a quarterback, because I don't believe the quarterback is going to win you a big GPP here. I think it could lose you one if you screw up. But if you have enough lineups with the right quarterbacks, I don't believe the quarterback is going to make or break this. I actually believe the positional players and those decisions will. We have a 4-game slate. We have a $25 contest for the $250,000 first place prize, and we have a $4 contest with a $50,000 first place prize and a 20 entry max. So what does that mean? That means the most anyone can enter is $80 or 20 entries, which means the pros will not play that as much. They will either be on to NBA because this is a short slate and their advantage is shrinking over the regular players, the rookies, or obviously us who sit in the middle. We try to sit between the pro and the amateur. That's where we win. And 20 entries isn't enough. They don't play 20 entries. So if they do anything, they'll go to the 150 entry $25. So real good opportunity here. So as I said on quarterbacks, I'm going to be doing the following. I'm going to play 3 quarterbacks core and then some insurance policies. Again, I don't think quarterback necessarily wins you this. It can lose you it. So for me, I'm going to save some money, and I like Nick Foles at 5,200. Okay, he had 25.5 points, DraftKings points, his first week, week 15. Week 16, he struggled. In week 17, he only threw 6 times. I mean, I'm going to throw 17 out the window. I know they played their regulars for most of the game, but it was a meaningless game, so I'm going to throw that out the window. But Atlanta, I just don't buy the Atlanta as a favorite in this game. I don't buy the Eagles over-under total for this game of 19.3. Okay, I still think the Eagles are the second best team in the NFC to the Vikings. Atlanta is 19th against the pass, and I don't even buy that. And the Eagles have a lot of weapons. So I think Foles is a great play and an anchor play for you. Number 1 quarterback for me this week. By far the most exposure. 5,200. My second is Case Keenum. I don't love his matchup. He's more money than almost $1,900 more dollars than Foles, 6,100. But he's been rock solid, man. 25.5 over under for the Vikings in this game. Again, a lot of weapons, and again at home in the dome. I do think this game could, even though the defenses are so strong, edge on the side of a little bit higher scoring. And I do think Keenum has some success in this game. Again, I don't think a quarterback wins it. And then I will be my homer here and have some exposure to Brady. But here are the warning signs about Brady. He's expensive. You can't really get tons of value. I mean, you could do a Brady Deion Lewis stack and hope he throws him a touchdown. But the better Lewis does on the ground, the worse it is for Brady in there. And to me, Lewis is a core piece, as we'll get to. So I'll have some exposure to Brady because he's mad, and it's an awesome matchup. And they will not take the pedal off the metal in the fourth quarter. So I think you got to have some there. Brady Gronk, maybe Brady Hogan. But again, Brady's price point, especially if you throw him in with Gronk, it takes Lewis out of your lineup. And it also hurts you to kind of get value other places. So tread carefully. And then my insurance. I'm going to call this real easy. I'm not going to have any Blake Bortles. Fade completely. No Blake Bortles. I'm going to have one Big Ben with Bell and Juju in a double stack, fading Antonio Brown, which I'll come to. I'm going to have one Mariota naked, no stack, against the Pats defense because of the matchup and because his running ability. But again, that's an insurance policy only. I'm going to have one Breeze with Kamara and Ginn, and I'm going to fade Thomas with Xavier Rhodes, okay, guarding him. One Kamara again an insurance policy, just like one Bell and Juju. And I will have one Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, maybe with Freeman. But again, I don't expect that to do well for me. That is basically throwing money, in my opinion. But I'm going to have it as an insurance policy. So again, Foles 1, Keenum 2, some Brady, and then some insurance policies. At running back, so let's start with the fades. Derrick Henry was great last week, 30 points. He's going to get the ball a ton. The Patriots statistically are showing they're not great against the run. So why am I going to fade Derrick Henry? Because number one, Bill Belichick takes away the other team's best player, and there is no question about it. He's going to try to make Mariota and his shitty receivers win this game. So he will work to take away Derrick Henry, period. Number two, Derrick Henry had one catch for 66 yards a couple weeks ago, 2 for 35 in the playoff game against the Chiefs. He doesn't catch the ball very well. And in DraftKings, that's kind of not a good formula. And 3, I think the Titans are going to be playing catch-up, which doesn't bode so well. So, got to take a stand, right? Fade Henry. And I am fading Fournette against the Steelers because I'm just not buying it right now. I'm just not buying the Jaguars' offense. And you got to take a stand somewhere. I am going to focus on number one, Deion Lewis. Listen, here's Deion Lewis's last 7 games. 31 DraftKings points, 35, 15, 11, 9, 18, 17. That's 6 of the 7 double digits. He's 6,600. He's significantly cheaper than some of these other guys. He is playing a Tennessee defense that, while they're 7th and good against the run, they're 31st against running backs out of the backfield catching the ball. And both James White and Rex Burkhead are playing injured, if they play at all. If they're both active, they're banged up. Okay? So this is going to be Deion, period. Out of the backfield, in the red zone, running the ball. And he has been on fire, and he looks unstoppable. And to me, he's an anchor for my lineups this weekend. I will have, of course, some Le'Veon Bell because he is Le'Veon Bell. And the Steelers are going to rely on him. But $9,600. As I said, I'm going to have him with one stack with Ben. Okay? But not, and I will have him in at least one lineup with Foles, one lineup with Brady, and one lineup with Keenum. And then I'll move off of him from there. But you're going to have to fade Le'Veon Bell too. So if you have 20 of those lineups and you use him in 3 or 4 in my case, fade him in 16, 25% of them or 20% of them. Because $9,600, if you fade him and his ownership is in the 25, 30, 40% maybe range, you're going to have a lot of success, like Gurley last week, like Kamara. But you still need him. Remember, Jacksonville, while they're 29th against the run, that's a little deceptive. It's just that everyone tries to run on them because they can't pass on them. Coming back to 2 other anchors for me along with Lewis. Love Latavius Murray. I just think the Vikings are going to run on the Saints. I think you can use McKinnon, depending if you want to save a little money. I think Murray is a better chance in this game to kind of score a couple touchdowns, which is, again, a lot of points, and do his job for you in your lineup. But I think McKinnon, I think they'll look to both. I think they're kind of 60-40 Murray McKinnon there, but I'll have exposure to both. And then Jay Ajayi against a Atlanta team that's 25th against the run, 22nd against running backs out of the backfield. I know there's a lot of running backs in Philly, but I just get the sense they're starting to come down to leaning on their best guy, and that's what they'll do in the playoffs. And this guy has the potential to put up 30 DraftKings points. He is an animal when he gets going. So for me, it's Lewis and Ajayi with some Bell and some split between those Minnesota guys. Wide receiver. Start with some stacks. So let's just make this easy. For me, we talked about this. Number one, I will stack Foles with everybody. Foles with Ertz, Foles with Aguilar, Foles with Jeffrey. We'll come back to Jeffrey. I'll stack Brady with Gronk and Brady with Hogan, and probably maybe the other one with Cooks. I'll stack Keenan with Thielen and maybe Keenan with McKinnon. I think I'll fade Diggs. Okay. I'll stack, and then I'll come to my insurance policies. Ben with Juju and Bell, fade Brown. Ryan with Julio. We talked about this. Okay. We'll just rifle through those insurance policies that we talked about earlier. My number one stack is going to be, I'm going to try to get Dion Lewis, Gronk, and Ertz. Those are my three anchors. Gronk is the tight end, Ertz is the flex, Lewis is a running back. I'm going to try to build as many lineups as I can with those three. It's hard with Brady, and it's almost impossible with Le'Veon. But other than that, you can do it. Wide receivers, number one. Got to make a stand. I'm going to fade Antonio Brown, number one, because I don't trust his calf injury. Number two, he's being guarded by the best defensive back in the NFL. Okay, so again, I'm going to go to Juju in this game. We'll come back to that. I am going to fade Julio and his price point, except for the stack with Ryan, except for that one stack insurance policy. And I'm going to fade Michael Thomas, okay, with Rhodes guarding him, except for the stack with Breeze. Maybe one stack with Breeze. That would be it. And I'm going to gravitate to Ted Ginn. So here are the receivers I like in order. Number one, Alshon Jeffrey, 5,500, loading up. If I can get Lewis, Jeffrey, Ertz, Gronk, that's a winning lineup for me with whoever the quarterback is, Foles in that case. 24th against wide receiver one, Atlanta. Jeffrey's the guy they're going to target the most. I'm okay dumping down to Aguilar for 4,800 though, because they're also terrible against wide receiver twos, Atlanta. So either of those guys, one or two, depending on the price point. But again, I'm Jeffrey one before Aguilar. On the Patriots front, I'm looking to Hogan. Okay, he's healthy. He doesn't have an injury designation. He hasn't played in weeks. He will be where Brady looks as he did early in the season in a big game. 5,200. He has deep play, middle play, touchdown, red zone, all over the place. And Brady's really struggling to get Cooks the ball deep right now. He's just struggling to make that throw for whatever reason. So I think Hogan's a better play there at 5,200. Number three, Juju Smith. If Pittsburgh's going to throw the ball successfully, it's not going to be, in my opinion, to Antonio. It's going to be to Juju, and he could have a huge 30-point day, and he's $6,000. 4, Westbrook. Bortles looked Westbrook's way all week last week. And at 4,400, I think you get some value. You can go with that. And then 5, as I said, is Aguilar. And the other one, is Ted Ginn. If I'm going to go anyone against the Vikings, it's not going to be Thomas. It's going to be Ginn. But again, I'll do a Ginn, Kamara, Breeze insurance policy stack. And lastly, if you really, really, really need to save money, which you might need to in these lineups, and you need to fit someone in real cheap, you can go with Eric Decker at 3,500 because he's been targeted a lot, and the Patriots do have trouble with that kind of receiver. But also Torrey Smith at 3,000. He'll be on the field for 30, 40 snaps for the Eagles, and one play he can win you that 3,000 and pay off. And I think he's also a good bet there with Decker. Either way, 3,000 for Smith, 3,500 for Decker. Tight end, I said it's easy. Gronk with Brady, Ertz with Foles, and if you need to kind of deviate anywhere else at all, it's Walker against the Patriots, because I do think when they focus on stopping Henry, Walker is the guy who has the biggest game at 5,000. But again, for me, if I can get Gronk and Ertz together, flex, tight end, that's where I'm going this week, period. In defense, I'm playing one defense, saving money. Eagles at 2,600. I don't trust Matt Ryan, bottom line, in Philadelphia in this game. I just don't. I think Matt Ryan is having a tough season, and I don't think we'll see that. I think it's a bad matchup for Atlanta, and I'm going to save the money on defense. So here we go. Let's bring it home. I like what we're going to do here. Differentiate and take a stand.